All right, guys. I keep hearing this stuff about DOGE and Department of Government Efficiency, and they're creating such a big problem, and Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and man, it's just not right. Let me tell you what I think. Let's get into it. All right, guys, this is Emmett Stallworth again, and I got my notes together on this one right here, guys. And this right here is going to be about this DOGE and this Department of Government Efficiency. And I want to go into this right here, guys, but today is going to be story time. So I'm going to relate this to me when I first started teaching. So guys, and I got to put all these notes together. I got to make sure I hit all of these key points, guys. Guys, when I first got started, when I first kind of, went to the military, I actually went to college and I dropped out of college. Well, not really dropped out, but I left college and I went to the military. And after I went to the military, I came back and went back to school and I got a degree in mathematics, pure mathematics from UAB. Once I got that degree, I went out and I started teaching at a school. It was Huffman High School. And Huffman High, at the time, it used to be a predominantly white school. And it's in the Birmingham area, the Birmingham, Alabama area. But this school used to be it was a predominantly white school. And most of the suburban schools, even the school I went to, Jeff Davis in Montgomery, it was a predominantly white school at one point in time, to the point to where they had to bus African Americans in under what they call the minority majority program. But Huffman was the same way. But for some odd reason, at that particular time, most of the white people had moved to Vestavia, Hoover, and all those different places. So this school, when I was there, when I first got hired there, that school was about, I want to say it might have been 90% African American. And out of that 90%, probably 70 to 80% of the African Americans came from single parent households. Now, guys, when I came in, now let me just say this right here. My situation was a little different. I was kind of young when I came in as teaching. Well, I looked really young, and I was probably about 26, 27. But guys, I never would have been able to do what I did at that school for the 2 years that I was there. I never would have been able to do it had it not been for that principal. Thank you, Miss Gloria Jemison. And I think she may be a doctor now. But she was the one that created the platform that allowed me to be able to get those kids at the top tier of their game. She did that. When I first came there, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, those kids were so out of order. Until when you introduce order to someone, I mean, this is how the system was. This is the Birmingham City Schools. But at that school, the kids were so out of order. And I think she came there, she might have been there a year before me, or she might have came there the same year I came. And I was probably one of her first hires as a math teacher. But they were so out of order. When you introduce order to them, it appeared to be wrong. And this is what we dealt with. Now, one thing I can say about that principal, she ran that school. She did it from the heart. This wasn't about money. She didn't care nothing about no money or how much you get paid. I think they did pretty good, in a personal whatever. But guys, you can tell that everything she did, it was from the heart. And what she would tell you, and what she tell the teachers is that I'm going to handle the school. You guys handle your classroom. And she would tell you that I'm not going to come in your classroom. That's your domain. You have the full autonomy to do that classroom the way you want to do it. And when I heard that, and I believed her, that's what I did. Guys, I ran my classroom like a military outpost. And I ran it. I mean, the discipline because I knew that some of those kids came from a background to where they didn't have a lot of discipline and organization in their household. I created that. The first 2 weeks you was in my class, we didn't even talk about mathematics. I was so focused on discipline to get them and get their mind to the point to where they can accept discipline. That's what it took first. And I had the full backing of that principle. Guys, when I got finished with those kids, 2 things happened. And I have the proof. Guys, my kids, when I got finished with them, number 1, I got Teacher of the Year my very first year teaching. Out of 4,000 teachers in the school system, I think at the time it was about 4,500 teachers in the school system. My very first year teaching, I was Teacher of the Year. And then number 2, guys, I didn't even have a math team. I just picked a few of my students out to compete in math competitions. Even the top tier, they had a school, Ramsey, over in, it was like a school, it was a Birmingham Magna school where the kids you had to place to get in that school. Well, my regular students, guys, I just picked out a few of my students in my classroom and sent them over there, and they beat everybody. And from that year on, I had 9th graders that were my students. Even when I left 2 years later, a year or 2 later, my students continued to win the math competition each year afterward until they were seniors. This is what I did with those kids, man. A lot of the methods that I use, now one thing is in mathematics, I understood that a lot of stuff that they learned, they were, in the prior grades, those kids learned, some of those kids were just passed on, to be honest with you. And in a lot of cases, because the only thing we were concerned about is tests. But I rigored those kids I mean, guys, I made them unlearn the things that they learned, all these tricks and stuff they learned in mathematics through the years. And, you just put this over here and you just do this right here. And that's what you got. You just flip this like this. You couldn't do that in my class. Everything was theory-based. I taught you the theory of mathematics. If you were solving an equation, you had to tell me each step why you were able to do that. The different properties of mathematics, why? That was the biggest question. And guys, we produced them kids. And here's another thing. Here's a major thing, guys. While I was teaching those kids, they hated it. They hated me. I even had parents, guys. Parents would come along. And I had a parent to come I was in the office when the parent came up that she just felt like I was mistreating her daughter. Because I was holding her daughter accountable. You got to do your homework. If you didn't do your homework, you're going to have a problem. Yeah, you're going to fail. Back then, you can probably fail. Now you can't fail no more, guys. But guys, I went in that office and the principal, I never will forget, man, that principal was there. Miss Jemison was there. And that lady came into the office wanting to get at me, a mama. And that principal said, you ain't got nothing to talk to Mr. Stallworth about because he's a good teacher and he knows what he's doing. You need to go talk to your daughter. She did that, man. And guys, to have support like that as a principal, guys, she didn't care about the bureaucracy that was happening at the school board. She didn't care nothing about that. I didn't either. Of course, it was my first year. I didn't even understand the bureaucracy of what was going on at school systems and where the money is going and all that kind of stuff. It was just a mess. And if you go to the board, it might have been a mess. As a matter of fact, in most of these, especially inner city schools, you'll find out that, even when they receive funding from the government, by the time that money actually reaches the kid may see 5 to 10 cents of every dollar that goes into those school systems. And most of those school systems are top heavy. They got too many administrators. You got 4 or 5 principals in each school and all the teachers want to go to the board. They want to be at the board. And the reason they want to be at the board is because they don't want to be in there with those kids. They know those kids cutting up, the mamas and stuff won't. It is a mess. It is a mess. Now, I say that to say this. The same thing right now, guys, is happening with the shakeup of the American government. This DOGE thing that they're doing, these guys are going in here and they're scrutinizing where the money is going, and it's shaking up Americans. And I just don't understand how the American people can have a problem with this. It's just like when I was teaching. Guys, I didn't care nothing about all that other stuff. We shook up the processes and protocols. I shook up when I was teaching, my teaching methods. They had these directives that was coming from the board. This is how we want you to teach these kids. I threw all that stuff in the trash. I said, this is what I got to do. I had to have split-second flexibility in order to teach my kids where I needed them to teach, because I'm the one in the classroom with them, and I'm the one who know how they're learning and what they're not getting. But in that classroom, that school had been out of order for so long, until when somebody like me and that principal come in and we put order into that school, they didn't like that. Parents were mad. The board would get mad. This is what's happening right now with this DOGE. Matter of fact, guys, I see this as a good thing. It's a good thing to go in here and figure out what's going on. Break all this stuff down and start all over again. Kind of like Donald Trump, i.e. my principal, is giving Elon Musk, i.e. me, the authority to dig inside of these classrooms or these government agencies and get this stuff right and fix it. Figure out what we're doing wrong, where we're spending our money at, break it down to theory. This is what's going on, guys. And so, guys, and I see this, guys. So I don't see why we are having a problem with somebody. I mean, even if they're doing it, and I don't think they're doing anything wrong. You know, they got the clearances. But, guys, it doesn't matter, man. We should want to figure out where the waste is. We should want to figure out where the problems are. School systems should want to know where the weaknesses are so we can fix it. You can't fix things if you don't look at it. And a lot of this, those schools start to break down. A lot of the African Americans start moving out toward the area where that school was, and a lot of those African Americans were single parent household ran by mothers. And guys, somebody made a point to me, guys, and I knew this right here a long time ago, guys, but somebody made a point to me. They sent something to me today, man, and I never thought about this, but I kind of knew this. And they were saying how there has never been a Super Bowl quarterback, a quarterback who won a Super Bowl, who didn't come from a household with both parents. I never thought about that. I knew we would get something like that to come outside and fire trucks and stuff like that, making noise. And that never really happens until I'm on the stream here. But guys, I knew that, guys, when I used to coach football. And one thing that I understood about that football, when I coached football, I started paying attention to a lot of different things. And I started looking at, now in our area, the football juggernauts were places like Hoover, Vestavia, Mountain Brook. I don't know if Oak Mountain really ever won any football. We just didn't have the athletes to really win anything. But you had they call these the over the mountain schools. I think Thompson wasn't a powerhouse back during that time. Now they are. But guys, if you look at football, something simple as football, in my area, what I've noticed is that a lot of the powerhouse schools that win all the football games, the kids or the boys come from a two-parent household or that particular municipality is primarily a patriarch instead of a matriarch. Now, the Birmingham City Schools, so all of these areas that I'm talking about, they're in the Birmingham area, but the Birmingham City Schools could never win a state championship in football. They just couldn't win, even though they had the best athletes. Matter of fact, some of these places were stealing some of the athletes from Birmingham. But Birmingham had a hard time, and I realized what it was, guys. See, when you come from a two-parent household, I'm not saying you can't be successful for my detractors. I'm not saying you can't be successful if you come from a one-parent household with your mom. But if you got a group of kids that come from a two-parent household, what you learn in most cases, if you have a household with a strong father, mainly a biological father, what you get out of that household is a respect for authority. Now, and your dad have rules in that household. You might not like his rules, but this is his house. And this is just the way things are going to be done. So you accept that and you simply initiate. This is the mindset that you need when you're playing football. Those coaches need to be able to tell you to do something. You initiate. You can't be going back and forth with an effeminate behavior like it would be if you was talking to a woman or something. Not saying all women, but in most cases, a woman is going to go back and forth. I'm right, you wrong, and I'm prove you wrong, get everybody on my side and things like that. No, you can't do that in sports. If you want to win, you simply do what the coach tells you to do because of his experience, and you initiate. There can't be no second guessing and second thoughts. You have to have first mind. So this was just a short one, guys. I just wanted to just kind of, make that parallel, guys. These guys in the DOGE, I think they're doing good. I think it's a good thing for our country. We can ask ourselves, well, where does this fit in with contractors? Well, I don't know. This may not have anything to do with contractors and construction. But if we get the taxpayers and if the taxpayers are not spending as much, I'm gonna make it relate with building, guys. If the taxpayers, if we can cut down on some of these taxes and we got more money to ourselves, more people to go out here and buy houses, or they could afford to go out here and buy houses because of the debt to income ratio, which makes it easier for me, which makes my market thrive. Guys, like, share, subscribe, help out the algorithm. I'm still, most of the, actually I'm monetized on YouTube, guys. So most of the money, anything that I get on YouTube, I spend it. I got a new camera right here and I got another light here. But guys, if you want to donate, well, I'll put that up some other time. If you want to donate to this channel, well, you can see it in the description box. Once again, like, share, subscribe, guys. I appreciate you guys for joining in, and you guys have a good day.